Hey, here just want to show you a quick video. This is a boiler. Actually, this is a water heater that has been used as a boiler. So we're going to go ahead and replace this with an actual boiler. And this is a fairly old installation, so I don't want to point to the company tag up there. I don't think they put this in. This is more like a self-install. But some of the things that we're going to do differently here on the boiler side, we're going to install isolation valves here because it's required for two reasons. One, for servicing the boiler and descaling the heat exchanger, and secondly, for the pressure relief valve. So as you can see, I'm gonna try and turn my flash on here. This one has a pressure relief valve here on the tankless, so we have to use these isolation devices. The other thing on the gas line, it's good to see that there's a drip lag, but then this gas shut-off valve is a 3/4 inch thread, but inside it's maybe 1/2 inch or 5/8. So what we need is a full port gas valve so that it provides the full flow. Also, this gas flex is a 3/4 inch connection, but it's actually a 5/8 outside diameter and probably 1/2 inch inside diameter. So we need one that's more like this one right here. And as you can see over here, it says 3/4 thread, and then 1 inch outside diameter, if you can see that, and then 3/4 inch inside diameter. So that's very important for the proper flow. Otherwise, the capacity of the system could be reduced. The other thing we're going to do is install a boiler manifold valve right here, and we can build that in the field. It will have a pump inside of it, or we can just get one from Navion or whichever brand we end up using here, and it's pre-made, so sometimes that's nice. And that's going to be a primary loop, closely spaced tees, and then we're going to rebuild the floor loop. Part of that, we are going to replace this water valve with, it's a water pressure regulating valve with, I like to use the fast fill valve because it's going to allow for quickly filling and purging the system of air. And then this single check valve will have to be mounted in a horizontal position, same with the valve. And because it's in the city limits of Bellingham, they require a double check valve, and that requires a special plumber with a special license to certify that. And next, okay, so on the floor loop side, what we have here is 6 zone valves. These are quite old and not really supported well in our area, so we're going to replace those with the Uponor or Wiersbo brand. They seem to be quite available and reliable. We are also going to replace these 2 zone controls with one single control that has the capacity for 6 zone controls. And then instead of having this type of a manifold that's kind of spread out, we're going to have a single manifold across the board, and I may possibly show that later if I remember to show the outcome. But for the most part, that's just going to be easy to service. Everything will be labeled. And here we have a 4-way mixing valve that we're not going to use anymore. And I'm still trying to figure out here, I haven't been on the site long enough to really know why that's even there. It seems because maybe we want different temperatures on different sides of the system. For example, this line goes up to the garage. These 2 are for the basement. So I'm not sure if they want different temperatures here or different flow rates. And then these ones are for the upstairs main floor. And so we will just need one single pump for the floor, and I like to use the ECM variable pumps so you can adjust the flow and it self-regulates when one zone is calling versus when multiple zones are calling, or the entire system. And then we will have a boiler pump right here. And so that's sort of the plan in short. Obviously we will reconfigure where the expansion tank is because it has to be connected in with the incoming line with the air separator. So a lot of this will be repositioned. And the biggest thing that we're going to do is we're going to put out an outdoor reset control, and the outdoor reset control is very important for efficiency, because what you want is the water temperature in the floor should be anywhere from about from 80 degrees up to about 110, maybe 120 at the most. And it's not good to shock the floor with the high temperature water. So right now it's October and it's 60 to 65 degrees outside. You just need probably 80-degree water. And because the floor is a huge mass in the slab, you just want to have just enough heat to keep the house comfortable at 70 degrees. But then if it gets colder outside, that floor temperature may have to go up to 90 or 100 or 105. And so in our area here in Bellingham, worst case scenario is going to be maybe 5 degrees outdoor temperature, and a slab that's 100 or 105 usually can do just fine, but you never want to go past like 120 or 125. Anyway, so the old system doesn't have that feature, so it's probably hard on the floors and a lot of expansion and contraction, and it's just not efficient. And I'll just say one last thing. When you have a temperature, like the flame temperature and that heat being transferred into the water temperature, the greater the difference between the flame temperature and the water temperature, the greater and more efficient the heat transfer. So that's why you want to have as low temperature as possible for the water return temperature, so that you can have a lot of heat transfer and a lot of condensation to extract the latent heat and everything from the system. So anyway, that's what the plan is here, and hopefully I didn't miss anything, but that's just very quickly going over everything. But then obviously it's going to take a little bit more detail to put this together perfectly and test it. And last thing I'll say is that every time we install a system, we just let our clients know that we have to come back out potentially once or multiple times as the season gets colder or hotter to play with those settings, so that we have the most efficient operation with the least fuel usage, but it's also comfortable. So like sometimes we get that balance perfectly with the first adjustment when we commission the boiler and make those adjustments. Sometimes it requires one or multiple trips to come out. So those are always free, and we just want to ensure that the system gets set up correctly from the beginning.